Recording. Awesome. So opening up the agenda so that you guys can see. Yes, the screen. Awesome. Can you all see the screen on Zoom?
Yes.
It's
Awesome. So we're gonna be doing roll call here. If you hear your name, just say here. Bonziak. Bonziak. I see her on Zoom, so I'm just gonna put that there. Blessing. Hello. Eric. Eric. Julie.
Here.
Julie. Natitude.
Sorry.
yes.
Rebecca.
Yes.
Shay.
Yes.
Travis.
I'm here.
Rufred. Awesome. All together, we have made quorum. And for those that have not made it here, I could see on the.
Anzu, did you call me?
I did. I just put you on Zoom.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Awesome. Just wanted to make sure that you guys received the agenda here. Here is the agenda that we are going forward. Does anybody want to make a motion to adopt the agenda? Yeah.
Okay.
Does anyone want to make that motion to?
I move to approve.
Awesome. Travis moved to approve. Blessing seconded. All in favor, say aye. All opposed?
I
All opposed? Abstain? Awesome. The motion has passed.
We need minutes for this. No.
Minutes are gonna be on YouTube, so you just click on there, go and then watch.
Great.
So for minutes from our last meeting is on YouTube, and make sure that you guys can check the Zoom link. I will click on it, but I am going to exit out right away because I hate hearing my voice.
Thanks, it's 2 hours long.
Ew, okay, now we can skip that there, so it works perfectly fine, so anybody that wants to check the last meeting, you guys can, so anyone wants to make a motion to approve the minutes.
I move to approve the minutes.
Travis has made a motion to approve the minutes. Second, Chase, second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Aye.
I think there's a lot.
All opposed? Abstain? The motion has passed for approving the minutes. We're moving on to open business, opening gallery, media, public comments related to the agenda or not related to the agenda. You have 5 minutes to present. Anybody? Coming once, coming twice. Oh, Awesome. Then we're gonna be moving on to our guest speaker. So our first guest speaker and our only guest speaker for today is going to be our GPSA President-elect, Michelle. You have 5 or 10 minutes, but you have the floor. Welcome in.
Thank you. And where do I stand?
You can stand right here. The hour's right there, so you can the microphone.
Great.
You want to turn the camera to face him?
It's
So,
360.
yes,
All right. Well, howdy guys. My name is Michelle Rivera Ramirez and I'm your president-elect. So a little bit of background about me. I earned my bachelor's degree here at the University of New Mexico. I'm an Albuquerque native, so I've been here all my life, and I did social work for a couple of years before entering into law school. That's the current program I'm in. And I have a huge interest in employment and labor, so that's my specialty. So the reason why I campaigned and, the reasons why I wanted to be GPSA president is because I think that, first of all, people don't know what GPSA does. And it's a lot of important work that gets done in GPSA, especially when it comes to advocating for money and advocating for students getting that money. And I feel that, my background here in New Mexico has really given me a unique perspective as to, how to deal with university politics, whether it's the president, board of regents, or even at the New Mexico legislature. I think one of my main priorities for the next academic year is to focus heavily on lobbying the New Mexico legislature for, increased funding for the various activities here at UNM. And, hopefully that money goes back to students. I feel that, we see a lot of money coming in for higher education, but very little is going towards students. And, I think I'm an advocate. I'm definitely somebody that knows that, the only people I answer to are, graduate students and really students in general. I feel that we have a common enemy, maybe. I don't know. I guess it's a common adversary when it comes to advocating for students, and that's other what's it called? Other agendas out there when it comes to the board of regents or the president. They have different agendas that don't really coincide with what graduate students and students in general want. So I guess my other point would be that as GPSA president, my door will always be open to any student. I think being available for students is step one, and it's an essential part in determining what's going on campus, because I don't want to hear from my chief of staff or like any other person at GPSA. I want to hear from students, and it's very essential for me to be on campus, and it's one of the reasons why I want to be more present on campus, whether it's holding coffee hour at El Centro de la Raza, or Asian American Student Services, or any other student service resource centers here at UNM. So, with that being said, I hope you guys don't get too tired of seeing my face around campus. So, apart from that, I think those are my main talking points for today. But if anyone has any questions about me, what I stand for, how an idea of how I want to get things done, I'm open to questions.
What's the thing you like most about UNM or UNM government or UNM student government?
I think the great thing about student government here at UNM, as well as UNM in general, is the amount of diversity I see on campus and in our student governance. Because you don't just see Mexicans, you don't just see Hispanics, African Americans, what have you. You see a bunch of different voices from different parts of the world even. So it's very essential to kind of bring those perspectives in student government.
I think Becca has a person on Zoom.
Becca, you have the floor.
Yeah, thank you for your time and the speech, and congratulations on your success. So I have a question on what kind of cabinets are you looking to build? I'm talking with respect to your team, the people you'll be working with.
Yeah.
How would you be selecting those people, and what are you looking for in the people that you would be selecting?
So I think my selection process for my cabinet is gonna be more of an interview process. People who are interested in the positions can apply, and we will review them and ultimately make a decision. But what I'm looking for in a cabinet is kind of relating to the previous question is diversity, really diversity and advocates. I feel that if you have, a track record of being an advocate here on campus or any campus, advocating for students, it's very important for me to have you in my cabinet because, regardless of, what your political ideology is or, what department you belong to, I think that, being an advocate is something that, I guess traverses department ideology, anything of that sort.
Yeah, so a final question is, what kind of leader, what would you say your leadership style is?
I didn't quite get that. Can you repeat it?
Your leadership style.
Oh, my leadership style. First and foremost, I'm not a micromanager. I don't want to be because, I have too much on my plate to do that. I think that if you bring a good faith effort into whatever you do, you won't have a problem with me. And when it comes to good faith, what does that mean? I think it's more of a hunch, I guess. If I see you doing good work and you are not here to waste my time or anybody else's time, because time is money, of course. And I think we'll get along just fine. It's all a matter of having that hunch and seeing your work and whether or not it tracks with what you're supposed to do. And I think having a little bit of permissiveness in my leadership style is very adequate to kind of have people not being bogged down by my demands or what does Michelle want, right? I don't want that to be a priority for my cabinet members. Definitely want some type of independence with working with me. Yes.
Yeah, so this is I don't know whether it is political, but I know that GPSA as an organization is not supposed to be seen directly involved in anything that sounds quote unquote political. So like I think yes, the graduate student union, they are doing a lot to help graduate workers, right? But again, GPSA in building that kind of collaboration with them, it has to also be professional in that sense, just so it doesn't kind of bridge as in create any tension between us and the administration, if I can put it that way. So how do you foresee maneuvering that route in that sense?
Yeah. So first and foremost, I definitely respect the boundary we have between GPSA and other political entities, and that GPSA isn't supposed to be political. And I think that the way to traverse that is kind of treating the union just like any other student org we have on campus, because they are, in a way, a student org on campus that represents a sizable amount of people on campus. So of course, I'm gonna, communicate with them, and they're gonna communicate with me, and we're gonna collaborate just like with any other student org. But there's a quote, speak softly and carry a big stick. like it, be mild mannered and be friendly with student orgs, but when they demand something more that they want you to do that kind of crosses political boundary, that's when you have to be assertive and be like, no, this is why, right? And I think that I fully respect that doctrine or that idea, kind of GPSA not being political, and I'll definitely help the union in whatever way that they want as a student org,
Right.
just like any other student org. But apart from that, I don't want to cross that.
Right.
If there is one thing you could change about UNM or the state of New Mexico, which you had no monetary limit, what would that be?
Well, probably having Drake at the next fiestas, but no, that's probably. I think something more serious would be, having graduate scholarships that cover full tuition, for recipients. I think that, if you can show your merits, if you can show that you're a hardworking student here at this institution, you're putting in your research hours, or you're helping, bring research and prestige to this university. There's no reason why there should be a financial burden to your education. Because if you're a hard worker, why should we expect you to carry on that burden? Because I know most of us, coming from experience, I come from a working class background. I actually live in the international district. I've lived there, most of my life. And my parents are working class, and coming to college was really a big financial decision. And honestly, if it wasn't for the lottery scholarship, which at that time I was attending here, covered only 60% of tuition, it was a struggle. It really was. And I wouldn't want that imposed on anybody that can show that they're putting in.
So in your review of looking at the bill for the graduate scholarship, what do you think there will be a change to approach to get the House of Representatives and Senators to finally approve it?
I think we have an advantage here in the fact that it's a long legislative session this coming year. So, there'll be more time, and with more time, there'll be, more bills that aren't related to, whatever financial priorities the governor has. And apart from that, I think framing it in the way of it being a financial investment in the state, because it really is. I think, the graduate scholarship is a financial investment on whoever receives it, for them to prioritize their studies, to prioritize studying in New Mexico. And so it therefore is an investment in New Mexico. So if you frame it that way, you definitely get other people that would be reluctant to give more money to UNM, because it really isn't about doing it, really. This graduate scholarship is about people, and what makes New Mexico run, it's people. So it's definitely an investment. And I think that framing really helps in persuading members of the House to really look at it from our perspective.
Does anybody else have any questions? Okay, well, Michelle, this is gonna, some people will be part of LSC next year. This is where we're gonna be meeting. This is where all your appropriations, your amendments, everything gets approved by here. But if you have any questions, best person that knows amendments more than anything, this guy, Wilfred, since he's the attorney general, the guy has been building all the bylaws and everything, so he knows exactly like what's good, what's not good, let's try to fix things. That's what all of our amendments, with Justin, Jared and that's what we just go to him for questions and all that stuff. So I hope that he's involved next year with you. But you're more than welcome to stay. But yeah, congratulations.
Thanks for having me.
Awesome. So moving on to officer report, you see at the second, action item, it's setting up another special meeting. Unfortunately, I thought this was gonna be our last meeting, but I did talk to Jared. Since we do have a meeting for LLC, for, main council on the 4th of,
May.
no, the 3rd of May. That there are going to be some more, he was gonna cancel it, but he was hearing that there's, that we might be getting some more bills to try to pass in last minute. So, we do need to set up a time and date to have our special meeting. I think this next meeting, it does not have to be a hybrid, it's gonna be, fully virtual. But in order for us to make it fully virtual, everyone just comes in right away, we get everything taken care of so that we can move on and have you guys start studying for finals, or if you guys are grading finals, I wish you well. So that's just my theory, and then the first item is just since and I'll talk about it a little bit more. For those students that did not receive their stipends last semester, just please stay tuned. I think we're gonna have another meeting about it here in about 45 minutes. Just explaining like what's happening, and hopefully we can get that fixed right away. Other than that, I really had fun working with you guys throughout, and I'll have more to say in our last meeting, but it's always good to see you guys in person. So
3 cheers for Ansley. Hooray!
thank you. Eric is not here to explain finance, but I can explain it. We had two organizations coming in. One was the women's surgeon. They weren't here in our last meeting in February, so they came to contest for their budget. And then also we had another organization, I think it's called Latinas for it's a business program. And it's not and for just only Latina for any other ethnicity other than just Latinos or Latinos. But they're just asking for funding for traveling. And their plan is to have at least one person from the undergrad, one person from graduate school, and a couple of people from graduate school, but from different departments. Since for business, we have all different departments, such as marketing, accounting, cybersecurity, and so apparently grants is able to you're able to ask for grants in the summer as long as they are enrolled for 6 credits. So I can't tell you the numbers offhand, but I think for the next meeting here on the 20th, after the election, or if that's been moved to May, is when we get the final numbers of everything from there. And then for the, I think we did one budget review. What was the group's name again? Do you remember? So the Hispanic engineering, all they just needed to do was move, reallocate some money from one account to cover conference instead of flight. So apparently Carl said that because they the conference was in November that it could be a conflict. But we did pass it, so hopefully there should not be a conflict of it. If it is a conflict, then Silas will send us an email just explaining about everything from there. But that's about it, for finance. Moving on to sustainability.
Do we know do we know who the next finance chair is or how that is?
So finance chair is gonna be the one that will pick finance chair, and then finance chair picks his vice. He or she will pick their vice president, and then as council, if I become council, then we decide who's gonna be part of the council committee. But
Cool.
hearing that apparently we have the same people for both LSC and finance. They're asking to change it up a little bit next year and have new people, so and that people can't be on two different programs at once. So I'll be going around hopefully just to see, okay, what's next, and then writing a report for just the next LSC and also the next council chair about who's gonna stay, who's gonna be going, and what is your recommendation for LLC and for finance? So, cool. Anyone else that needs finance help, they have until June 30th to allocate all that money, and after the 30th, all that money goes right back to FPO. And will be safe for next year, so they can't have, I don't think the money will like stay for next year. They have to be asked them again, so. And it's all that, but it's a big, huge process, so next year, and things that will change a little bit next year because we have a new accountant, so. Hopefully it's gonna be good. But yeah, that's about it for finance.
What's Silas's last name?
Wyatt, yeah. So if you have any questions, just let him know. Does anyone have any questions for LLC or finance? Okay, and moving on to sustainability, Travis.
Cool. All right, real quick update for everybody. I feel like this is probably similar to the update I gave last time LSD met, and certainly last time the council met. So number one, we received notice last week that our request for $600,000, large amount of money for us, not for the state, but for us it is, was denied. We requested that amount for solar panels on the roof of the sub to essentially finish the entire roof. Currently, we have $100,000, which is great, but it covers 1/6 of the roof, of which there's a lot more potential. So we were going to expand the potential. We did not get that funding because the money is preferentially allocated for projects in San Juan, or the San Juan Basin, which is essentially like Farmington, Shiprock, that area. Obviously, that's not us, and so we did not get that funding, which is okay. It happens, you know, whatever. We will probably, hopefully, try for it next year. Maybe not. Either way, it's still good that we got $50,000 this year to add to our $50,000 from last year. So now we have $100,000 total for solar panel installations on the roof of the sub, which is good because a $50,000 grant from last year, the majority of that will actually go just towards mobilizing the contractor and mobilizing the materials. And so now we have more money to go towards actually putting in the solar panels themselves and paying for these solar panels themselves. So that's great to hear. And we'll keep working on that as the years go along and hopefully make that a reality. Let's see, other things. Next week, in 2 weeks, we have a meeting with the UNM Hazard Mitigation Committee. We're essentially looking at natural hazards that affect the UNM campus. So whether that's a building that's on a slope and that slope is unstable, whether that's a, building that might be too high and so it attracts lightning because it acts as a natural lightning rod, things like that. Natural hazards, so not necessarily like physical hazards, like a street going through campus without a crosswalk. That's not in the pertainment of this committee. This committee is looking at sustainability and geologically minded hazards on campus. And so every 5 years, the university comes up with a plan for that and then allocates money to address those hazards. So we're having a meeting next month to address those hazards and hopefully come up with a funding plan for those. So if any members of LSC have a hazard in mind that you have seen that you want to bring up, keep in mind it has to be geologically or natural hazard related. Please let me know. And then finally, we are putting together with myself, the manager for UNM Recycling, the sustainability director on campus, and then several members of the Institutional Support Services Office. We are putting together a proposal to allocate funding for an expansion of Lobo Gardens. Lobo Gardens is a community and mostly campus focused group that works on basically a campus community garden to plant food for UNM members and overall increase beautification of campus and provide local, naturally grown food for students. And so there was an adjacent land to the plot they're currently on, and that adjacent land is not being used, and they could expand to that land. They just had money to develop that land, actually like plow it, put in plants, pay for the feeds, manage it, etc. So it's very small. It's probably $3,000 to $5,000 max, and we can probably make it even less. But we're working on a plan to hopefully expand that, number one, but then also justify that expansion by educating more students on Lobo Gardens and what they do, why they're important, and how they help, et cetera, et cetera. So anyway, we're working on that too. I think that's it.
And if you guys are curious of where the Lobo Gardens are going, is that it's like, is it like Las Lomas?
Kinda, yeah, it's close by where that street from Lomas
So-
connects to La Pluma.
So it's that building, right? It's like across from Acado and Paso de Rio.
Mhm.
And so there's that roundabout, you go in, and then there's like there's like a lane that lets you turn left and lets you turn right across the street from there. So he's saying that there's another land that's right across from it that's just all grass. And I think there's like houses there and some more parking on that side. Right now it's like they only have like one small row of grapevines, but like it'll be really cool to like see them expand more from that. And another thing, hopefully next year that Travis and I are gonna hopefully kind of work on is do a student-led farmers market, especially for main campus and North Campus. We used to have one, but because of COVID, you know what that happens. People get tired and they don't want to do it again. And I think it would be really cool to have a student run farmers market for both Maine and both North Campus. Since I've been to North Campus a couple of times, there is no place for food. And it would be cool to have some food trucks there, some produce there for anyone that needs to buy some produce so they don't went to the store. They can just buy it. And so all the law and medical students live around that area. So just buy their stuff, go drop it off directly at home, or if they can't, then put it in their school refrigerator and take it home and put it down. So hopefully next year, with since everything is a lot freer and not too much in the budget, then hopefully we can work on a proposal and draft it and give it to council and see how they like it. But yeah. Does anyone have any questions for sustainability?
Yeah, I actually want to find out what you have been able to do so far. Because you just highlighted what you
Sure.
plan to do.
Sure. So this year, we secured $50,000 in funding for the solar panels, top of the $50,000 secured last year. I participated on a committee that essentially took most of the year, which was selecting the new UNM food vendor for this upcoming year. So every 8 years, well, or longer, but at least every 8 years, UNM chooses a new vendor for all of our food services. So that's the Sub, La Posada, the University Club, the golf course, athletics, really anywhere on campus that serves food, even the private vendors, they go through this ordinance, this entity, UNM Food. And UNM Food has a vendor, which is a third-party, nationally recognized organization that monitors all that food, tracks expenses, coordinates the delivery of food, coordinates the cooking of food, the actual management of all that, the supplies to serve the food, everything like that. So myself I and one graduate representative was on the committee to select that new vendor. The biggest priority this year for that vendor was cost, not necessarily sustainability, but sustainability played a major role. We selected a vendor based on the fact that we had 3 major vendors that submitted a complete application, like a several 100-page document on what they were going to do, their specific actions, what they were going to update for La Posada, everything like that. Aramark, Chartwells, and Sodexo. Sodexo was the first one to be ruled out because they're kind of smaller and had a worse financial package. It was going to be a lot of capital investment to transfer everything from our current system, which is Chartwell, over to that new company. Chartwells, we were less inclined to continue our contract with them because they have not been meeting the university's demands and needs for the last 8 years. They've been towing the line between adequate and poor. We wanted a better company, so we chose Aramark. So Aramark is going to be our next campus UNM food vendor. They work on universities all across the country, including several others in New Mexico, including Eastern New Mexico and New Mexico State. And so they have a proven track record both here and federally, nationally, as a really good company. I think their sustainability plan is decent. I think it could be improved, but I think that the amount of money that they are already allocating for improvements at La Posada, improvements upstairs, as far as like switching, like for example, here's some like specific things they're planning on doing. Folks might be interested. They want to expand the hours of draft and table, where draft and table becomes a breakfast opportunity, not just lunch and dinner. Right now, draft and table has like no food. They're basically a bar, like beer only, pretty much, or beer and wine. So they want to expand the hours to where draft and table can be a coffee, like quick stop breakfast. They want to change the current area upstairs for Cafe Lobo, which is the Starbucks coffee, but UNM branded coffee shop upstairs. They want to make that a rotating vendor site to where every 2 weeks they'll rotate which local vendor actually operates out of that space. Be that a coffee shop or a pizza place or some other local vendor that isn't already operating on campus. So it's kind of cool. They want to switch out the Starbucks in Zimmerman with a local coffee roaster. I think it's Red Rock Roasters or Red. I think
They're removing Starbucks.
in Zimmerman, they're replacing it with Red something Roasters or Red Rooster Roasters, something like that. Some local company, I forget. And then they're working on making University Club and La Posada more affordable for students while also improving the options at La Posada to include like gluten-free, allergen free options, stuff like that. So anyway, we were on that committee that helped the university decide, or at least give student input on what of those options were going to be good for students. I would say 2 other major things are serving on the committee for the hazard mitigation, which I've been on since November, still going on. It's a long process to create that document. It's also several hundred pages. And then the final thing is, and this is what I'm really proud of, is that UNM, for the first time ever this year, hired a director of sustainability for the campus, for the university as a whole. You know, before, if we wanted to install any sustainability program, whether that be recycling, renewable energy, student education, you know, the local food pantry, anything like that, reduction of waste, anything like that, it was all handled by somebody different. There was no single entity that could reach out to them as an administrator and they would connect you with the appropriate person. there was nothing like that. You had to like dig and find out like who to email, who to set up a meeting with about this particular thing you were interested in. But now the university has a one single point of contact who's responsible for all those programs. Anything to keep the university running sustainably and environmentally friendly, there's one person for that, which I think is great. And that means any student or university entity, administrator, undergraduate, graduate, doesn't matter. Go to this person, reach out to them, ask them your question. They will either know about that program or they will know who you should email about that, which I think is super helpful. And it's long overdue because frankly, one of the 2040 goals to the university, which is like 2040 is 15 years, like that's coming up. And one of those goals was sustainability. And the university didn't have a person in charge of that, which is silly. So they finally hired somebody this year. We helped be on the hiring committee and help select that person. They provided an active role. I was on the committee. I listened to 20-something interviews with people applying for that position to hire somebody. And I think we hired somebody. Her name is Ann Jackal. She's been involved with the state government for several years. And before that was involved with a nonprofit in New Mexico that handled like subsurface energy rights, subsurface environmental remediation, things like that for several years. So she's really well-versed, really educated, and also just like a really kind, dedicated, hardworking person. So really excited to have her on board. We hosted one event already this year on educating students on waste management and proper like waste recycling, things like that. We're gonna do another one at the Sustainability Expo, which is in 2 weeks. It's actually April 25th, which is a Thursday from 10 to 2. It's upstairs in the Cornell Mall outside. So if anybody on the call is interested, that's gonna be our next sustainability event.
I'll be there too.
Yeah, Ansley will be there selling flowers and stuff, and we'll be there running a GPSA organized event on waste remediation on campus.
You could probably explain about last year, or I can explain it. So,
Yeah.
Since we had a little bit more money in the budget, we were giving out like so much seed, like free seeds there.
Yeah.
It was really good. We had a good turnout of students to show up for the sustainability fair. Definitely would recommend you guys like tell your guys RDSAs, or just anybody that's really interested to come in. They have different type of vendors as well. Like mostly some of the vendors you would probably see them at the farmers market. I know most of them. So like they usually have someone that does that raises bees, that has like a honey farm, or someone that uses different type of plants to make lotion and soaps and all that. So and things that are more like sustainable or more that is helping the earth from there. So and then are you doing the same thing as last year where I think he has like a pool of different types of balls and you have to like put one ball is for recycling, or one ball is for trash, or one ball is for compost and all of that stuff. So we had like a couple of little children playing around with the ball.
It's a silly game, but it helps illustrate number one, how easy it is to sort your waste in the proper like recycling, compost, or non-recycling. And then it just teaches students what is recyclable, right? Like plastic bags, not recyclable, but the plastic container that your strawberries come in, that is recyclable. Glass, you can't recycle it necessarily outside your house. You can take it to a spot in Albuquerque to recycle. So we did that event on Valentine's Day here in Sub. We will be doing it not this Thursday, but next Thursday out at the Cornell Mall, which is just outside the Sub. So yeah, that was a lengthy answer, but that's what we've been doing this year and what we're
Thank you so much.
yeah.
So, and then reports for all of the just the executive chairs are going to be coming out probably by the end of the semester through the president. So just stay tuned. It's going to explain everything, but overall for us, we had about like 15 amendments that needed to be passed. a couple, a lot, passed, a couple failed. But we were able to get that fixed, a couple of resolutions. So, we did really well this year. Hope next year that we conduct a little bit more and actually fix more things, especially the website needs to be fixed. So hopefully we can get that taken care of next year. Okay,
I have one more thing.
Yeah.
I'm also giving a presentation this Thursday on the status of UNM's geothermal program. We are currently doing research at UNM into geothermal energy and Lobo Energy, which is a separate entity under UNM facilities that handles all of our energy needs and contracts with PNM, is actively looking into geothermal heating on campus. The public knowledge. So as far as being able to heat buildings renewably using the heat from the earth, we're working. That's also really good.
Mhm.
I'm gonna do that at this up.
No, that presentation's at New Mexico Tech.
Oh,
But the heating should be campus wide. The heat, like already Lobo Energy heats the entire campus, whether that be like North Campus, the hospital, every building, even South Campus, it's all heated through one entity. And they're looking into creating a subsurface heat exchanger under the golf course on North Campus to then provide all or some of the heating for campus.
so the current one that we have right now, is it the one that's right by the business? Like, there's,
We have two.
we have two,
There's one by the business school, and there's one by the center for two separate units that provide all of the heating and steam and cold water and electricity for all of campus. And those are the two units.
so they're trying to combine it into one.
No, they're keeping it separate, but they're just gonna have both units run off, or partially run off this geothermal system. Initially, the geothermal system should provide 30 to 35% of campus with heating. And then they can expand it, but they're gonna try at least for initially to see if they can do something.
And will those go directly to like the new building, or is it easier to connect it to the new buildings, or is there like a hard, like a different process when it comes to like the old ones that we have currently?
So logistically, all of the heating and energy goes to these two sites and then goes to every building. It's not like each building has its own separate heating unit or heating installation. It all comes from these two sites. So the source of these two sites will be this new geothermal heat exchanger under the golf course that'll run to the new sites and then run through existing infrastructure to. So you don't have to install new pipes, plumbing, anything like that in each individual building. You have to change the source,
That's cool.
which saves you a ton of money and hopefully makes it more feasible.
Awesome. Yay. Is there any other questions about sustainability? There's none, okay. Well, thank you so much, Travis, for all that information, that's awesome.
A lot of cool stuff.
So nextly, we're gonna move on to our action items. Does anyone want to make a motion to open up the discussion of adding a bylaw for council members volunteering? Anyone want to make a motion?
Wilfred, so moved.
Awesome, Wilfred just made a motion, he's gonna second.
Second.
Awesome, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Abstain. Motion to open action item 1 has been approved. So this is just I think a discussion that I wanted to bring up here for to you guys, and hopefully we can create something for our next special meeting so that it goes directly to main council. So over the years, since I've been through GPSA, I've noticed that council members do not volunteer in all of our programs. And a lot of like execs, GPSA execs have to do most of the work. And it's really difficult. And since now we do have the increasement of the fee has passed, meaning that $150 stipend might go up next year to $250. We do gotta implement like more responsibilities for as a council member to receive the stipend. Not that it's not just someone coming into the meeting and voting for the amendments. It's more of like coming and support just support GPSA and just any meeting, any events that we have, because it's hard to just get students just to show up for some of them, from some of them there. And it's probably as ASUNM has it there, they're required to go to events. And that's the reason why ASUNM has a really good turnout, is that a lot of them at least are required to go at least one event. And because them going in, they're telling their friends, we're hosting this, we're hosting that. More people show up on these events, can get us out, can get our information out from main campus and North Campus too. So this is just open discussion. It's not going into law. As of right now, I just want to get your guys' opinion. What could we do as council members to support all of our events, and what could we do to get people volunteering for all our events? So I will open the floor.
So that's just me as as an individual expressing my opinion. So I think that's the way to go, because I mean, almost, I think, yeah, the three of us, at least I can say, we joined PNMGC, and for PNMGC, you need to attend certain programs, right, to fulfill like the requirement. Even that, right now, it is not even automatic that once you fulfill the requirements, you're essentially going to get whatever stipend there is. So I find it a bit worrying that we have more than, how many, like 20 in council, but then
like 40.
exactly. But when we have GPSA events, we barely see people. So it's like people are only interested in council. Like it looks like GPSA is council is here, and then the rest of GPSA is elsewhere. So I think that is, if truly we want people to come for our programs, I think that's the way to go. So personally, I'm 100% in support of that. And honestly, I will be all on board to draft the bill to have things like that and pushing, because we also, I mean, this is not like just looking at it in a sense that we are like forcing people to come for our programs, but it's just like being part of GPSA and not just staying, aloof when things are there that we can all support. So I think that's the way to go. Yeah.
Exactly. Just going back from graduate appreciation week last week, going forward, Monday, I had to help Joseph, because he was the only person out of all that did the work. Kaya was also really useful when it came with her assistance in brewing coffee, getting all of that stuff here. But the only person I saw on Monday was Wilfred. And the only other people that I've seen in council was Shay twice. And it's good to see our students come in and support, because when a random student comes into to the event and asks what's happening, what are we doing, the last council meeting, Benjamin asked, what is Club 89 benefiting for GPSA if nobody shows up? Well, if people are not showing up, what are we doing to advocate people to come to these events? And the main thing is getting council members to come to events and say, okay, this is what I'm doing. Let me invite a couple of my friends. Let me invite my group just to go grab a beer or grab something. If they don't drink, they have kombucha there. and just hang out for just even 30 minutes or an hour for their time to just to help things around. Not every time, not everyone has the ability to stay for the whole event. So you can work a couple hours and leave as long as you show up there and then at least say hello. But that our main goal is to not only showcase that graduate students, we do also have lives, but then also we're helping and catering to other students all over campus, not just us. So, does anyone want to add or anyone have like a conflict? I'm opposed to hearing conflicts. I'm opposed to hearing good advices from this, but I would like to see a change next year to have more people show up.
Yeah, I mean, I'm in favor. I think it's relatively easy and not asking much to maybe say one event per semester.
Mhm.
I mean, we host nearly 10 events every semester, right? If you count like every single event we hosted during grad appreciation week, if you count every single Club 89, if you count every single, even like an exec meeting, for example, could be an event, right? Where council members go and show their face at an executive council meeting. That could be great, just so people get to know each other, you're well informed, you show that you care. And I think there's ample opportunity. And that it's not asking very much. Particularly because we're most of us are on campus every day anyways, so,
As
Sorry,
president- Yeah.
sorry, I can't find a way to raise my hand through the phone. I think also maybe having like a sign up sheet might be nice. I can be kind of busy depending on how my blocks are. So sometimes if there's like a sign up sheet, and I know the date and I've signed up for it ahead of time, that allows me to clear the day for that. And then I'm able to, make one of the events. One of the reasons why it's been a little bit difficult for me to come out to some of the events is that sometimes I don't know. And they kind of go over my head. And if it's not on my schedule, or if you, Ansley, don't tell me specifically, then I won't really know. And then I won't really know, or I won't really schedule it into like my plans and try to attend. So making a sign up sheet might be nice, or at least like having like people sign up for something once a year might be nice.
So we can probably implement that.
Yeah.
Also there. Do you have any words about about crafting this amendment for the gear up for next year?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's feasible, and I think it's not too burdensome on people, and like you said, it's gonna end up the same thing, and their events tend to be, bigger and with a bigger turnout, and yeah, no, I wholeheartedly agree with the proposal.
So yeah, just moving forward for anybody else that's gonna be watching watching this is just that it's what we're not trying to do is make a huge burden, but just at least come to one of the events, come see what we've been working on and what we're doing and what we are here to help other graduate students that don't know us in general. So yeah, Becca, you have a question or something, right?
Yeah, so I kind of like was going to say that Julie's suggestion is very good, but that would be if like these are events that are already planned ahead and there's a schedule in place ahead of time. Most of these events are planned as we go, not that they were already like planned and then there's already like a schedule, a calendar, and then you just are able to say, oh, I'll be able to show up for this one. I don't think those events are like that. So it's like, oh, next month we'll be having something, not at the beginning of the semester or at the beginning of the session. The events are already lined up with already like fixed dates, and then we can sign up for those dates. I don't think those are like, that's how those events are planned. The other side to it is another reason if you look at the last event, the grad fest event, you notice the turnout of people in that event compared to the other events that have been organized. It's because that's what people are interested in. For the most part, I would say that's a good indication of what people are interested in. I, for one, you won't do a draft and table event. I will most likely not show up because I don't have a business watching other people drink when I don't drink. So I think that organizing events that people want to attend would be the way to go. And the grad fest thing, if you look at the attendance compared to other events that has been organized, is a good indication of what people are interested in showing up for. So that's what I feel I wanted to say.
And I know for sure for council, I think the next thing that we want to probably also do is if we have some more money in the budget next year, and if I'm the council chair next year, is looking at the budget of what we could do to bring in more people to come into these events and to get to know a lot more a lot of what we do. I know our last event that we did, that Jared and I did with the grad union was hosting the trivia. We were part of it there.
Yep.
That was a huge success. So probably next year we should have trivia night. We should even look into what other programs that are having, like UD Night is doing. They did trivia, they did laser tag, they did all of that stuff here. What could we do to that is in our budget that we could bring in for graduate students that it's not only just draft and table, but like we could do in the daytime, nighttime or something, just to bring some fun, but also bring some amazing resources to help students. So
And and to add up, so one event that I will recommend that if you're a council member, you want to take advantage of is the time that we go to Santa Fe to
Santa
see
Fe, yeah.
what the House of Representatives. I mean, if you're a council member, at least you get to see how they move motion. That kind of experience really helps. So
exactly.
things like that. Yeah.
And hopefully once we figure out the budget for next year, we can see how many students are able to come to Santa Fe, because this year, due to budget cuts, we weren't able to, but we were able to sit for council about 5 students, and I sent out an email and no one showed up. So, but hopefully next year will be better from there. And this will be cool because you get to meet a lot of House of Representatives, a lot of senators, and then also sometimes the governor will come out and say, hey, hey, let's chat, let's talk. And 2 years ago, with Scheich administration, we were able to see the governor. Thanks
really
to
cool.
Isaiah. But Isaiah, he was with us last administration. He was the political chair, and he's there now, working with the House of Representatives. So definitely, that's one of the students that you should talk to for the bill for the graduate scholarship, hopefully by summer. I think he just got accepted for a conference that he's going to be in California for like most of summer, but like beginning of school, just like get things started. But like the greatest advice that I heard from one of the House of Representatives is start in the summer, and that will help increase the chances of getting the bill passed that year. So yeah. So should we vote on trying to get the amendment built? Is
So-
you want to vote on that?
Well, we probably don't need to vote.
Yeah.
We don't need to vote to get an amendment started. We just need and
Yes.
to vote on.
And then for the next
So then,
meeting,
once we figure out our next meeting, then we have a brokerage drafted there. I read it and then send it to you guys. And then if you guys have any questions about it, through just forward it to me, or And then we can, or even wait to our next meeting and we can discuss it there. You are also more than welcome to come to that meeting too, so that you can see what the amendment will look like. And so, and see exactly what needs to be on there. So by next year, you already know exactly what to do for our next, LSC meeting. Yes, Becca, do you have a question?
Yeah, so I was going to like say that I hope that like when the draft come, like it is like the responsibilities are properly outlined, penalties
Yeah,
are also outlined. People know, and that it's like just everything. No, there shouldn't be any confusion. People know what they are signing up for, what is required of them, penalty for it, and also um what's the word now? Making room for, let's say, oh, somebody was sick or something, things like that. What would be the approach to kind of like resolve such issues? What I'm just saying is that everything should just be properly outlined in the draft.
okay,
So people, so not just for us to vote on, but so that the people who this would eventually affect would know what they are signing up for, know what is required of them, what their responsibilities are, and also be able to prepare it. Essentially, like what Julie's suggestion. If we are going to, I prefer that we have like it outlined so I know what I'm signing up for. I'm able to like work with my schedule to make plans, right? But this will not be
yeah,
possible if the events are not planned way ahead. So if an
yeah,
event is going to happen next week, and I'm thinking maybe I'll be able to go for the one in April, and the event in April was not advertised until 2 weeks to the time. And then I'm like, oh, I already have things fixed for that year, and I was thinking I'll go for the one in April. So I don't know if you understand what I'm trying to say. I'm
no,
just
I
saying that
understand.
this would also, I think this would also potentially affect the public relations officer's work because
And I
that's
think,
the person organizing the
so
event.
public relations, they actually start in the summer. And so I think
Mm-hmm.
that's one of the things, if we do get another person that knows exactly how to run, run events, to get them, I think they will get trained like the first 2 weeks, knowing exactly what they need from SGO, figuring out the budget, and also getting all the dates and the event places booked. Because I know the sub now this year is cracking down on getting bookings booked early as possible, to make things a lot easier. I know that's been the biggest thing, is making sure that students book ahead of time instead of booking last minute. So I know for sure, like ASUNM, they they already booked all their stuff that they're doing again this year for next year. And it usually takes about 6 months for their next events that they're planning to do. They just try to save the date, save all of that stuff, and then work their way once the event is close enough. So it could be a suggestion that we can put in for the public relations next year, for next year, is to have them figure out the time slots for different events going forward for the next semester, so that we already know on our first council meeting that these are the events that we're thinking about doing, these are the dates, and we're gonna figure out exactly what we're gonna do on one of those dates right away. So we can get that drafted in as well. So thank you so much for discussing about this. I know this has been,
Just a quick one.
yeah,
So, from David's administration, I think what they did that really worked was that even, I think they started the hiring process sometime in June or
June.
July, right? I wasn't even in the US at the time. But so I think once the president-elect is here, if you get things as quick as possible, then you already have the team set, and then some of these events can be planned way ahead of the fall semester. Then people can then sign up for things like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's the biggest advice going forward is that last year with, Justin's, administration and Shai's administration, even though Shai's administration, we lost Mohammed as, doing that terrible shooting, but a lot of the positions did not get hired in right away. And so everything was late. And I think in order for us to have a successful semester or a year, is to get everything done so that people are in the office in the summer, getting things ready, grants, public relations, finance, or even like the whole cabinet is there at least visiting once a week at the office just to get to know each other, but then also if they have any questions they need help with by building events, all that stuff, we can get it done.
Yes, adding to that, at least, so somebody who is going to take up a certain position should be available to work throughout the entire administration, because we've had in the past where somebody fills the position for first semester and then the person graduates at the end of the semester, and we had this lacuna going forward. So I think it created some kind of problem. So at least the person should be aware that they will be available to work throughout the administration. Yes.
Awesome. Well, I know we have another meeting that's gonna happen here shortly, so let's just move on right away to saving the date. It looks like Mondays work perfectly for everybody. Let's see here. Let me pull up my calendar. So our last meeting is going to be the 4th, Star Wars Day. On the 4th of May, so we do need to schedule. We could schedule a meeting on the 29th, at least that goes through that on a Monday. We could do Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday, depending on how your schedule is. Julie, your hands up.
Oh, did you say that our last meeting's on the 4th of May?
So our
Last
council meeting is on the 4th. So we do need to
Okay.
schedule a special meeting, and it looks like Mondays look like they work perfect for all of you guys. So the Monday, the 29th is an opening date that we can meet at 6:30 on just directly on Zoom. Does that work with you guys?
It works for me.
I'm just gonna go around and I will have you guys vote from there so I can keep records. So I will call you guys' name, and if that works perfectly, just say hi. If it doesn't, say nay. If you want to abstain, you can just say abstain. So going forward, Blessing, does the 29th work for you? Okay. Wilfred?
Yes.
Awesome. Okay. Got it. Awesome. Julie?
Yep.
Awesome. Becca?
Yeah, it's okay.
Okay, perfect. Monziak? Monziak?
Nadia?
I'll message her. Natatu?
Yes.
So, the whole majority chose the 29th, so that is in their schedule. Two main, the council announcements, elections is in person on the 20th. At Mobile A and B on the 3rd floor at 10 o'clock a.m.
Saturday,
p.m.
right?
this Saturday. So make sure you guys attend for that. Our next two meetings again is the 20th, and also on May through Zoom. So make sure you guys attend for that. Our next LSC meeting is gonna be on the 29th at 6:30, so definitely check your emails from that. And we are good to go,
Wait.
so
Is that not supposed to be in person? So why does it say via Zoom?
I'm gonna change that. I'm so sorry. Great question. Come in person, please. Okay. You guys are, if you guys are, on a, if you guys need any, question, any help on the stipends, please stay. If you guys already received your, stipends, you can go, but, meeting has been adjourned at, 7:51. My computer is a little bit off. Yeah, you guys are good to go. But if you are have any questions about the stipend, just stay. And yeah,
Thank
thank
you.
you, thank you, thank
Mhm.
you. Yay. So I'm gonna